What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and today is the day we finally have Danmachi Season 5. It is on the books. Literally just aired like maybe a few minutes ago. So, before I get too deep into this, I will say if you guys did enjoy Wistoria, you will likely very much enjoy this series as well. If you haven't, we are well deep into the series, but if you haven't checked it out before, we are well deep into the series now, and I would highly recommend it. It's actually what got me into Wistoria in the first place, because the author, well, the person who wrote the story, not the artist, but the story writer for Wistoria is actually the author of these light novels. My fair warning to you guys, though, you are getting knee-deep into some big lore here. So my highest recommendation would be go splurge, go binge seasons 1 through 4. They're totally worthwhile. Season 4 is fantastic. Season 3 was even awesome. I mean, just from a raw comparison. But nevertheless, guys, let's get into this. Let's not waste too much time. Now, we will get into spoilers, but before I do that, I do want to start off by kind of covering my general reviews. Now, I will be honest here. JC Staff is not my favorite studio. I am going to come down a little harshly on them in this episode. The Foley's fine. The sound design is all fine. That's always like a high 8, low 9. There are places that could use some work, but it's not awful. It's definitely not grating. I love the voices they have chosen for all these characters, and if there's one really high mark I can give them, it's that the people who do the voices tend to own these characters. So those people that have been following this channel since we covered Danmachi Freeze, which is the game, I believe all, if not pretty darn close to all of the voices that voice the characters in the games, voice the characters over here, and that tends to be a thing. So I'm very happy about that. Like, obviously, voice-wise, I'm very happy. Action-wise, I'm going to be a little bit critical. But I also want to talk a little about the intro here, because there's a lot of stuff that they did that's kind of a precursor to what might be coming, and there's a lot of allusion to some of the story. Now, those of you guys that have read the light novels, please no spoilers in the comments. You guys are generally pretty good about it, but every once in a while there's somebody who just wants to spoil the story. Don't do that. Let the people that are anime only enjoy it. If you do want to read ahead in the light novels, I believe this is starting with, I think, book 15. I don't remember exactly. We'll do that when we do the light novel versus anime episode. But just no spoilers in the comments, guys. But I do love the fact that we are getting so much of the Freya Familia in this episode, in the opening, in the episode. We really are getting a side of the story that we have never had before. So it's really, really, really enjoyable. That said, I know you guys want to hear my animation. I'm gonna give it a 6. I'm stretching even at that. If you get into the action, because the early part of the episode, of the opening and all that, look fantastic. This really sets a good stage for where this episode is going. You get a lot of really great facial shots with a lot of really good detail. There's so much going on here, and even when the lighting and all that, that's why I give it such high marks, is because the background lighting and all that when you're in the tavern and everything looks really good, and that's not an easy thing to accomplish. Here's what irritates me, and here's why the marks are so low. Because when you get into the action, when we do get into the later part of the episode, the action does pick up. And I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, when that happens, the frame rate does not increase. Everything is still basically 12 frames. And that is jarring and definitely to the episode's deficit. I even went to go download a version of this because I thought maybe it was because of the streaming service or something like that. But even in some of the raw versions that I downloaded, it was still very jarring, very obviously 12 frames. Not a full 24 or anything even close to that. Everything is edited on the 2s, and that really, animated on the 2s, and that really was jarring. When you get to the actual fighting sequences, you do see a lot of the animated tweens, and they are extremely obvious, and that bothers me. In 2024, even if you don't want to force your animators to do this, we have Twixtor. We have other options. Like, these animation studios, I hate to say it, but they really do need to embrace ways to have digital tweens between these self-animated tweens. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is all animation. But basically, your keyframes look pretty good, but everything between those, you ever seen like an old Disney animation where like Gaston's face is like really badly distorted? Essentially, they have to animate things in such a way that when like a sword is swiping, you don't see the full sword, you kind of see like these jagged outlines. It almost looks like spikes and stuff. And it looks really weird, but when you see the full animation, it becomes a very nice, smooth curve. But we all have 60 frame televisions now. We all, we all have monitors and TVs and ways to watch this that are much higher frame rate. And one thing that JC staff has always struggled with is animating on the 2s, despite the fact I do feel like it's time to level that up. And I know these animators work hard, and I don't want to discount that. This is just a pet peeve for me, and I do feel like technologically, as I've got tools at my disposal when I do animation projects, that I can literally just have the program, I don't want to use the AI word, but the program itself will automatically infuse in between shots that will actually smooth out that animation and look really good. We need to embrace that as it's not to take away from the artists and for the animators that work their tails off. What this is this is technology that could make those animators' lives so much easier. If you guys want a full deep dive on this, let me know. I absolutely can compare the two series that we just covered, but I've spent 7 minutes now with this episode complaining about the animation. I want to get into the synopsis, but I want to make this as quick as possible. So from this point on, guys, we're going to get into some spoilers, but I'm not going to go too deep because you guys watched the episode. I'm just going to give a brief overview and what I thought about this. So right out of the chute, we get essentially everybody in the Familia leveled up. Lily's really excited. Even Haruhime leveled up. I love that. Funny enough, Belle's the only one who did it, and Hestia is literally like, I will not let him. And that's really important. Number one, every time he levels, we know he's got the skill that lets him level up fast, right? Every time he levels up, it is problematic for their Familia. So literally, she's just trying to save face in front of all the other gods and goddesses, but also, he's been doing some stuff that's kind of questionable lately. Not deliberately, but it's just trouble follows this dude. It will continue to. And, there's just so many reasons why the gods and the goddesses just tend to give Hestia a lot of flack about this guy. But, he's our protag. We love him, right? Nevertheless, they're having this big banquet after all the garbage went down. And, season 4 was crazy. And in the middle of all this, you get this interaction between Seer and Belle. And I love the fact that Seer and Belle, and then Ryu and Belle, it's like this, triangle type thing. And Ryu's clearly trying to avoid her, and Seer's, clearly trying to get some information. And Belle's daydreaming about their snuggly times in the dungeon. They didn't smash officially. There's always been a lot of fan theory on that, but I think that's just fan theory. I think it remains very vague, and I don't think so. It's not anime Belle, no. Light novel Belle, maybe, but anime Belle, no. If you don't know what I mean by that, read light novels. But nevertheless, the long and the short of it is, Seer leaves, Ryu leaves, Belle goes out to meet her, and I love the fact that she just wipes him the hell out, which is so on par for Ryu. And even she's starting to grow her hair out. She's really starting to get back to that Estrella Ryu. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the Estrella record's on this channel. Go watch it. It's a fantastic story. It is from a gacha game, so the animation quality is what it is, but it's a great story. I think the light novels, I don't know if the light novels have even been translated yet. I hate to admit that. It doesn't matter. I digress. Nevertheless, guys, I'm a little behind on collecting my light novels, and I do apologize. I've been trying to focus on the mainline series to catch up to where we need to be here. Nevertheless, guys, basically we find out one thing leads to another, and Belle gets a literal love letter. In fact, I love that Haruhime is calling it, and then it happens to be that. And it's Seer asking Belle out on a date, and is this a real date? Is it not a date? Is it a real date? The whole back and forth. And Hestia loses her mind. And I love the fact that Hestia had Lily watch out. They have their own rivalry going by. Lily's literally supposed to prevent this from happening. And I love the fact that old girl from the Freya Familia shows up, and she literally just like abuses him with the letter, and it's fantastic. The Freya Familia is so terrible, and I love them. In fact, and I'm going to jump ahead here to their round table because it is topical for the moment. And you get the round table and you get all the different perspectives. First of all, I'm glad we finally see Hegni and Hedon in the, or Hedon, sorry. Anyway, nevertheless, that's its own deep dive. I love the interaction between them. We saw a lot of that in the game when we started getting the Freya stuff in Danmachi Memoria Freeze. Same voice actors, I think. I'm pretty sure. I'd have to double check that, but I think they are. They're their own little insanity. And of course, Otaro just doesn't deal with anybody's stuff. And then you've got Alan, who just is a problem. And I absolutely adore Alan. Alan is my spirit animal. I have a little bit of a hothead sometimes. And I absolutely adore the fact that he just doesn't care. Like, Otaro 100% could just wipe him out. It'd be a fight. It'd be an interesting fight. But ultimately, I don't think he could quite handle Otaro. And I love the fact we see him and Ryu and Mama Mia double team Otaro in the opening. And that was just really great. And Otaro's like, you will sit down. And Alan's like hell, I will. I'm out. And so I love just the discourse and the utter chaos in that Familia, and it just works. So it's all just really insane, and the fact that everything just kind of culminates in Belle going on this date with Seer, and immediately as he's leaving on that date, Hedon comes out, or Hedon, whatever, comes out, and just absolutely just lays into him, and it's fantastic. Love the fact he's just like, basically it's the Terminator, come with me if you want to live. I love it. And but it's not come with me if you want to live because someone else is after you. It's come with me if you want to live because I will end you right now. And I adore these characters. I can't wait to get more of the Freya Familia in the story because they are just insane. In every sense of that meaning. There's some serious capabilities on that team, but they also have their own problems. Oh man, it's truly unfortunate. Nope, we're not going to get into that. Go watch the episode of Freya. One of my favorite characters is sitting there, and old boy is nuts. People that know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Ali. I'm talking about the other dude. But those that know, know. Nevertheless, guys, I am stoked for the rest of the season. I really hope the animation gets better. If you guys want an animation deep dive and a comparison between this and Wistoria and all that, let me know. I don't know if it's a fair comparison because Wistoria had a lot of studios working on their stuff, and this just seems to be JC staff. But I would gladly do that deep dive in a heartbeat. But we're going to come back and talk light novel versus anime. I do have a convention coming up, so it might be sometime next week before I'm able to get to that. But hopefully, guys, you enjoyed. I enjoyed. Despite my criticism, I very much enjoyed this episode. My criticisms are just what they are because I have to be a critic. And if you guys have not subscribed, make sure you do so. And I'll be back with more coming up real soon. And next week for episode 2.